Welcome to the FAST team introduction of these new assess tools for the 4 M's of obesity management. These tools are part of the FAST intervention program, and this video is intended for providers involved in the FAST intervention. What we hope to model during this session is a way of using these new cards, and hopefully will provide some tools for evidence-based shared decision-making with patients in clinic. So Jody and I are going to do a little mock role play to model how we would imagine that one might be able to use these cards. We're assuming that we're coming into the middle of an encounter where we've already asked the patients for their permission to talk about weight management concerns.
Hello.
Hi, Jody. Okay, so with regards to what we were speaking about with regards to weight management, I just want to show you these cards. When we think about weight management, one of the things that's really important is to think about the root causes of why people suffer from excess weight. And there's 3 factors. One can, as we know, be related to increased intake of calories or to reduced exercise. And then also there can be metabolic concerns that people can have that can contribute. So either side effects of medications or different medical conditions that could contribute. And so in order to personalize a plan for you with regards to your weight, it's important that we assess, if there's any root causes that might be contributing. So what we've done is we've created these cards, and there's these 4 different domains. There's money and time, mental, mechanical, and metabolic. So if we just look at those in terms of mechanical things, these are reasons why a person might have trouble with being active. So they may have a chronic pain condition, they may have sleep apnea, lung problems.
I've had issues with asthma. It's been a problem lately.
Issues with asthma, okay.
Yeah.
And then some of these other things, urinary incontinence, tummy problems, skin problems.
The only thing I really can think about is the asthma.
Is asthma, okay. And then in terms of metabolic conditions, some of these conditions can cause people to have medications or have increased risks from increased weight, and they could be factors in terms of thinking about planning for you.
Okay.
So sometimes people have heart disease or endocrine diseases like diabetes or thyroid disease, cancer, liver disease, polycystic ovarian, just to name a few.
I don't. I'm pretty fit. I feel good, but my family, especially my dad, has a history of heart disease and thyroid problems.
And thyroid problems.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but applying to yourself, not really.
No,
so,
never.
So those are definitely motivators.
Yeah.
Okay. And money and time. So that's a biggie. So sometimes resources actually to purchase food,
Yeah.
or resources for activity.
We're good. Like I'm a pretty fortunate household. We do a lot of stuff. I take my kids to hockey all the time. I feel like they eat, like my kids eat good food at least. Like I make plans. I try to make sure they have vegetables and fruit. But I don't necessarily. I try and make sure they have good meal plans, and then I always end up eating junk food as I'm taking them to hockey practice and running here and there. I don't have time.
So maybe more resources on the time aspect
Yes.
rather than monetary resources.
No, that's not a big barrier for us.
All right, perfect. So time is definitely one. And then mental things. So some people, if they're stressed, they eat, or there's emotional eating. Sometimes people have mood conditions like depression or other mental health concerns. Some medications people take can contribute to problems with weight gain. Addictions, of course, if people are addicted to drugs or alcohol. And then poor sleep is also playing into that.
Yeah.
Would any of those sort of resonate with you as being important?
Well, I'm pretty stressed. My job's really intense. I'm working a lot of hours. Between that and the kids, I don't eat well, and when I do, sometimes it's late at night, I just want to sit down in front of the TV and relax and eat a bag of potato chips. And I know it's because of stress. I can't seem to manage that.
Okay, so just to summarize that, it sounds like we've really narrowed this down to a few aspects that we really need to focus in for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we would model using an example of how we might use the 4 M's of obesity management cards to really streamline that assessment piece and hone in on a few areas that the patient has identified as being areas of concern for them. So now what we want to do is model how we would use the 5 A's toolkit with regards to classifying the patient's strengths and challenges as they relate to those different domains. And then we're going to move from that into some evidence-based shared decision-making goal setting with the patient to really hammer down with the patient some first steps that they want to take in terms of addressing some of these concerns. I'll bring it back. Okay, Jody, so thank you so much. So now I just want to orient you. This is a sheet that actually we can keep a copy of and you can take home. And what I want to do is just put down here some of the things that we've identified. And then we have some space for notes. And then what I'd like to do is do a little bit of shared decision making and a little bit of goal setting with you so we can start the individual plan for you.
Okay.
Okay. So just in here, some of the things that you had identified in terms of time resources. So a real strength of that in terms of the time resource here is that you are taking the time to prepare a healthy food for the kids.
I guess so, yeah, I am. They eat really well.
So you have access to the healthy food.
Yep.
So monetary resources are definitely a plus there.
Yeah.
And you actually do take a lot of time to prepare for the family. So that's a real strength.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, that's a super strength. And then just here you've identified for yourself that in terms of time, the schedule is hectic with the hockey.
And so I'm just eating out. I know I'm eating out too often.
And so eating on the fly.
Yeah.
And then just being, really fatigued and just, needing to find that quick solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one. And the other benefit is that you do have resources, monetary resources for activities. So you do have the finances.
I mean, I could try to go to a gym or something like that. It's not money that's holding me back. I cannot imagine the time to make that happen.
Well, that's okay. So that's still a plus though. So we don't have that barrier.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
Which is great. And then here in terms of mechanical things, so the great thing is that, a lot of these don't apply to you. Really, the main issue here for you is the asthma.
It is.
Is that right?
I don't have any pain. It's good. So asthma's been an issue.
So the asthma is an issue. Now, in terms of your asthma control, do you have an asthma action plan?
No.
Okay. Well, just so you're aware, if I can share.
Yeah.
So a couple things. Sometimes people really do find their asthma is better managed when they have an asthma action plan.
Okay.
And we could certainly work together to do one, or we do have a respiratory therapist here in the PCN that could work one out with you, or your family doctor could do an asthma action plan for you. But if you're finding that asthma is a control that limits your activity,
it is. It really is.
That is something that maybe we could look at.
Okay. I've always thought I couldn't really do much activity-wise just because I had asthma, so I assumed I just couldn't.
Well, have you ever heard of Emma Robinson?
No.
So she's a Canadian silver medalist in rowing, and she has asthma.
Oh.
So if she can win a silver medal in the Olympics, I think we can get a grip on your asthma.
Okay, I can walk.
Okay, all right. So, and then I think the big one here on the mental side, it just sounds like stress is a doozy.
It is.
Okay, so definite pluses there. There's none of these other issues.
No, and I don't feel like I'm depressed. I have a good outlook on life. I'm good. It's just I know my work and our schedule is tough to manage sometimes.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think would you say that that's a pretty accurate sort of reflection of what we've discussed so far?
Yep.
Okay, and then one of the things too, just as a motivator, I think you had mentioned your dad had heart disease.
And he has thyroid issues.
And some thyroid issues too. So maybe just as a housekeeping issue, we might want to check your thyroid.
Okay. And it's true that, he's one of the reasons I really want to work on my weight, is I want to make sure I'm healthy as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
He can't play with his grandkids, and that's hard. It's really hard on him.
Okay, well that sounds like a really good goal. So,
it is.
So it sounds like what you're really aiming for is baseline to be healthier.
Yeah, I want to be able to play with my kids and feel energetic and just good. And I don't want to get sick. I'm not sick now. I don't want to get sick.
Fantastic. Okay, well, so just sort of given this, it looks like we have a lot of strengths to work from. Given kind of what we've discussed, the next part of the exercise is just to look at setting some goals. So sort of building from these elements here that you've identified as challenges, we want to try to chunk off one part of it that feels realistic and reasonable to you as kind of a first step with regards to some concrete changes that might be helpful. Sort of looking at that, do you have any ideas on an area that you might want to tackle first off?
I would love to eat better, to manage that somehow better, but I don't even know where to begin.
Okay. So that sounds like something that we could maybe strategize about a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is a really big challenge. Would it be okay if I shared with you a couple of thoughts?
Yeah, I would welcome it. It would be good.
Okay. Well, sometimes one of the things that is important is just to actually take a little bit of time just to even sit down and write out a schedule of what the typical week looks like. Because sometimes if you're having this trouble with time management because there's just too many items, actually getting a grip on what the tasks are might operationalize it a little bit.
And I've done it in the past for off and on, and it has worked to try and organize my schedule a little bit. I guess I've just kind of forgotten about that.
Okay, so there may be some things around there that we could explore a little bit.
I could try and come up with like maybe a schedule for a week or two and try and plan in there some times to eat and some healthy snacks. I've been thinking about it, I just haven't done it.
Okay, so it sounds like that's actually something you've been thinking about even.
Yeah, I guess I have.
Okay. Well, I mean, we don't want to have it be overwhelming. Like how much would you like to chunk off? I mean, maybe a whole week might be a bit much.
Oh, I guess so.
Do you have a day that's particularly problematic, or two that you just want to leave off the table for the time being? Or do you want to consider for...
Do you know what? I have one day that's really busy that has 2 hockey classes in there, and what I actually would like is to figure out how to eat well on that day.
Okay, that sounds very concrete.
Okay.
So, wanting to eat well on, which day of the week is that?
Wednesdays.
To eat well on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, what specifically do you think you would need to do in order to be able to do that?
I need to pre-plan snacks for myself, not just the kids, because they always eat all the snacks I provide. And I need to plan dinner ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's ready.
And pre-planned dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
And the kids are already getting healthy snacks.
They are, yeah. They eat them all, and I don't really think of it for myself. I drop them off, and then I go to McDonald's.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So this will be on Wednesday, and probably, do you need to do something on Tuesday to prepare for that, or on the weekend to prepare?
Yeah, I do. On Tuesday nights, I need to plan dinner, and then I just need to add my own snacks to theirs.
Okay.
That seems simple, but I haven't done it.
Okay. And where would we be doing that?
At home.
Okay. So what do you see as barriers to making this be workable?
Just forgetting.
Just forgetting. Okay.
So I think like if I just remind myself of this somehow, that I need to plan Tuesday night for that, that would be a big thing if I could not junk out every Wednesday.
Okay. Well, how confident do you think you are that you might be able to try that this week?
This week, 9.
9?
I do it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. All right.
Okay.
So that's great.
Okay.
That's really great. So that's a good first step.
Okay.
Is there anything else here that you might want to think about tackling?
Well, I'm curious about this asthma plan you mentioned. You said something about a respiratory therapist.
Mm-hmm. We do have an RT here at the clinic.
So is that someone who could help me manage?
Yes, absolutely.
I would really like that.
Okay, well, why don't we look into scheduling an appointment for that next time she's in, or your family doctor can also do it if the time doesn't work for you.
Okay. And maybe just those for now?
I think that's fantastic.
That could be good.
That's great.
Okay.
No, that's fantastic. So book an asthma action plan.
Okay.
And we could go ahead and do that even before you leave today.
That would make it happen. That would be done.
Awesome. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay.